evening and welcome to the 411, a multi-sectoral partnership of domestic and international partners result in an exciting new mechanism that should see the growth and development of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises in Belize. Tomorrow, we see the launch of the Belize Small Business Development Center. And when we come back, we have some guests from BELTRAIDE, the University of Texas at San Antonio, and Caribbean Export Development Agency talking about this brand new initiative. So stay where you are and we will be right back. Welcome back to the 411, and I am very pleased to welcome in studios with me tonight Melanie Gideon from BELTRAIDE, Barbara Mooney from the University of Texas at San Antonio, and Leo Knott from Caribbean Export Development Agency. It's really a pleasure having you folks with us here tonight on the 411, and let's take this opportunity to give our listeners and viewers the 411 on the Small Business Development Center. Actually, Melanie, this Belize Small Business Development Center is launching tomorrow, and so maybe the way to go is to have you tell us about that.
Okay, yes, tomorrow at 2 o'clock at the Radisson we are launching the first ever Small Business Development Center in Belize, and actually in the English Caribbean as well. It will be our host, primary partner, is the University of Belize, particularly the Faculty of Management at the Westland Deaver campus here in Belize City. Will be on the second floor of the main building in that campus. The purpose of the center is just to be able to extend our reach to the business community, both at the entrepreneurial level, at the established business level, and the exporting level, and making sure that we are providing the relevant services to as many enterprises as possible, and more importantly, to be able to track our impact on these enterprises. So that is the premise of the SBDC. If I can go ahead.
Yes, please.
Introduce the SBDC Belize, that's what we're calling the center here in Belize, could not have happened without UTSA, University of Texas at San Antonio, particularly Barbara Mooney. She and the director, Cliff Paredes, instrumental since May, coming into Belize once a month to train BELTRAIDE staff to run and operate a center, how to effectively provide advisory services to the clients. We were able to get that assistance through the funding from the OAS. So they picked up the tab to allow UTSA to come to Belize to provide that training. Caribbean Export, Leo is here because, again, they're a regional partner with SBDC in the US to have the SBDC model exported into CARIFORUM. So that includes CARICOM along with the Dominican Republic. So in a nutshell, that's how the SBDC has arrived at Belize.
And there are a couple other partners in the...
Domestically, there are partners, yes. So in order to help us set up shop and get the technical expertise, our strategic partners in the Belize are 4. We have the DFC. We've always had we as in BELTRAIDE have always had a long relationship with the DFC, working with them to help them improve their client base in accessing their services. So they're one of our strategic partners. The Belize City Council is another one. They have a regional project underneath CARILED, where a part of it is to do enterprise development in Belize City and the Belize District. Again, the center will be providing that kind of assistance on behalf of the City Council. The third partner is, of course, UB along with ITVET. Again, because ITVET has they're training a lot of young people in a lot of good technical skills, but transforming those technical skills into meaningful enterprise development. So again, we're partnering with them with that. With UB, we are looking very much forward to that partnership because we're allowing where students, bachelor students, can do their credit internships at the center. They will be exposed to providing advisory services to startups and entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs. We are going to have the lecturers and professors of the university also volunteer their time at the center to provide advisory services to the more established business and more sophisticated business that needs assistance. We will be working with UB as well to provide more relevant and meaningful courses in entrepreneurial development and business development. So we have excellent partners domestically.
Melanie, I want to come back to talk a bit more down the road about the nature of the Small Business Development Center. But perhaps what might be useful right now would be to bring Leo and Barbara into the discussion by looking at the whole concept of the Small Business Development Center, because clearly, as you've intimated in an earlier statement you made, that this is not a brand new initiative in terms of the world. It is a brand new initiative in Belize, but there have been small business development centers set up in other countries, and Barbara has been involved in that to a large extent, and Leo perhaps as well. So let's come into the conversation. Come into the conversation with us on this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, the Small Business Development Center is one of the largest and most successful assistance program in the United States. It has been in operation for over 35 years, and it's a partnership, it's an alliance between the public, the private, and the academic sectors. And so the key services, the core services of the SBDCs is consulting assistance, free, long-term, technical market research, and training for small businesses. So the goal is to accompany the small businesses as they become from entrepreneurs to exporters, to be available to help the small businesses throughout the process. We have the University of Texas San Antonio has been the leading institution in the expansion and promoting the SBDC model outside of the United States. Since 2003, we have been working with Mexico in assisting and implementing the SBDC model in the country. Right now, there are 108 centers in operations throughout Mexico. Excuse me.
Throughout Mexico alone?
Throughout Mexico alone. Belize is also part of the project. It's called the Caribbean Small Business Development Center project, and we are working also with Barbados, Jamaica, St. Lucia, and Dominica in developing small business development centers networks in these countries as well. The University of Texas San Antonio is also working with the support of the U.S. government and in partnership with SEMPROMIPE, a regional agency.
With what?
SEMPROMIPE is a
Center for the Development of Enterprise, Small and Medium Enterprise in Central America.
Okay,
correct.
It's based in El Salvador.
Mm-hmm. So we're working in partnership with them to develop also SBDC networks in Honduras, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, and Panama. There are also 5 centers, SBDC centers, operating in Colombia, and we're going to be soon working in South America, in Peru, and probably Paraguay. So the SBDC's model has been very successful in the United States for over 35 years and has proven to be very successful
What has it been successful doing? What is it that makes it successful? Because I think that we're talking about, as we said, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises.
Well, the SBDC measures success in terms of economic impact that our clients generate, and we measure our activities, our performance in terms of new jobs, jobs that are retained thanks to the services that are provided by the SBDCs, in terms of the new companies that are established, in terms of companies that are formalized, that are coming from the informal sector to the formalized economy, in terms of new access to capital, in terms of, we also have qualitative economic impacts in terms of, we help clients develop their business plans, develop a marketing plan, develop a pricing strategy. So that's how we measure the success. And that's one of the key strengths of the SBDC model. We track the performance and the activities of the centers, everything that happens with the clients, from the training, from client meeting, in market research that is done for the client. Everything is tracked in a system that allows us to measure, to evaluate our performance and see the results. And that's what we call economic impact.
And that is the reason BELTRAIDE loved this model. It allowed us to be able to measure our effectiveness daily, monthly, as often as we need to. So if my boss calls and say, Melanie, how is the center doing? This system allows me to have the information right there. It could justify the center's existence because we're providing meaningful services back to the community, and that was the hallmark of our attachment to this model.
And that's one of the strengths of the model as well, the results-oriented culture. Every employee at the SBDC knows that, what the mission of the SBDC is create economic impact for the community. And so we are all focused on producing results. And that's what makes a difference between, other programs that, just operating without really a purpose or not knowing what they're producing, and the SBDC model. And let me add something else that I forgot. El Salvador also has implemented SBDCs.
11 now. 11
they have 10 centers operating throughout
El
Salvador. And so, again, this is the vision of actually expanding the SBDC model not only to Central America or Caribbean, but also throughout the Western Hemisphere. There's an initiative called the Small Business Network of the Americas, which will link all the SBDC networks. And this will create new opportunities, multilateral trade opportunities for all countries and for all SBDC clients.
So all the enterprises can interact with each other additionally.
Caribbean Export Development Agency. I mean, the name, as the name suggests, it's geared towards.
Well, definitely. And first, thank you for having us here. The Caribbean Export Development Agency is the only trade promotion agency in the Caribbean, in all of the CARIFORUM member states. In fact,
let's tell people what CARIFORUM is, because we may know that, but
course.
All listeners and viewers don't.
CARIFORUM will be all of the CARICOM countries minus Montserrat plus Dominican Republic. So it's the directorate of the CARIFORUM is within the CARICOM Secretariat, and right now CARIFORUM member states are the beneficiaries of the 10th European Development Fund, in which it's part of the funds that Caribbean Export has available to improve competitiveness and innovation for all of the CARIFORUM member states. And that's why with the European Union we're implemented the Private Sector Development Program. So within that mandate, as I said, we're trying to work with the private sector so we can become more competitive, more innovative, so we can have a better insertion in the international markets. In September of 2011, we were invited by the OAS to participate in the Inter-American Dialogue for MSMEs authorities, micro, small, and medium enterprises. And there we fell in love again, as BELTRAIDE did, with the SBDC model. Not only because it is a great model with proven track record, it also measures the impact. And for example, for Melanie, in a local environment, it helps her quantify her results. Us as a regional agency helps us garner support for a program. Something that has measurable and proven impact is better to get international donors into the mix and try to get it a more sustainable funding input. Caribbean Export has been working closely with UTSA and the OAS in implementing also this model in 4 other countries, as Barbara mentioned. Belize has been our star performer in this project, launching its first center, and for this, that's why we're here to support it, and we're very proud in being here present with BELTRAIDE in the launch for tomorrow. And another thing before I hand in my word, the reason also why we loved it is because, and I think Barbara could talk a little bit more about it, is there's a platform that the SBDC provides, which is SBDC Global, which allows all of those companies that are go through the center to also access this platform. And it's a platform of buyers and suppliers, but not just regionally, at a very international level. So for example, if I'm producing beer here in Belize, I can be selling my beer to someone in Africa, in Europe, or in Asia. So that it allows not only for me to get the technical assistance that I need to be more competitive, but it also gives me the tools to access international markets.
One of the things I want us to just touch on for a brief second there is the whole concept of MSMEs, you know, micro, small, medium-sized enterprise. And when we hear these terms, we always think about sort of the little mom and pop shop, and you know, something that's basically just almost at a kind of subsistence, you know, level, hand-to-mouth situation. But my understanding from what you're saying is that you're basically trying to move away from this kind of concept and getting these small businesses to be able to get involved in the international market, you know, that they can export their product and not just simply look at it as something that they sell whatever they you know they have to just the neighborhood, you know, people.
If I could interrupt there, because of what I wanted to say with BELTRAIDE, we've always had, I can't say, since 2005, BELTRAIDE inherited the functions of enterprise development center. A bill was drafted in 2005 to create this center, but by 2007 it was incorporated into BELTRAIDE as a third mandate. So since 2007 till now, we had the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Unit. Now, like you rightfully said, there's the micro, there's the small, there's the medium. Micro in Belize was recently defined earlier this year through funding out of the Caribbean Development Bank. We got funding to do the first national SME policy, development policy. One of the hallmarks of that policy is something simple as defining what is a micro, what is a small, what is a medium enterprise. And then micro is 1 to 4 employees. If I look at it, employees, medium is 5 to 50, and anything between 50 and 200 is a medium. Now, every enterprise has a place in the economy. So if it's a micro enterprise of 1 or 2, even if it's subsistence, all we want to do is making sure that they become formal, first and foremost. They can grow as much as they're willing to grow, because some people might want to stay small, and that's fine, but they're providing an economic impact by just employing themselves, and that's fine. Then you have the next layer that's probably comes in as micro and grows to small, and he or she may stay in the domestic market, and that's fine. So finding each enterprise, just like an individual, has their fit. So not all of them will export, but many of them will, and that's fine, and we're going to support them. Many of them will continue to be viable domestically. At the end of the day, we want you to be viable. If that means that you can be viable in the domestic market, perfect. If you need to go international, you want to go international, better. And so every enterprise has a place in the economy, and we hope to help you find that place.
And that is important to recognize, because again, one of the trends that seem to be that seem to be out there is, again, the whole thing with mergers and everybody gobbling up all the small businesses into these large, you know, conglomerates and things like that, you know, and the demise of the small businesses. Yeah.
Most economies, and again, Barbara and Leo will tell me, I have yet to come across an economy where the norm is anywhere from 80 to 95% of the economic backbone is small and medium enterprises. Yes. You know, so they have a real value to any society, and we just hope to strengthen them here in Belize as well.
All right, I think that it's probably time for us to take a break right now, and when we come back, we shall certainly continue this very exciting conversation. Welcome back to the 411, and if you've just joined us, We're talking with Melanie Gideon, Barbara Mooney, and Leo Knott, who are or who have been involved with the establishment of the Small Business Development Center in Belize, which launches tomorrow. What does the Small Business Development Center entail? People hear Small Business Development Center, and perhaps the thing that comes to their mind first and foremost is, aha, are we going to be able to get some money? Are we going to be able to get some loans? Are we going to be able to, get some of the things that we need the most to be able to make our business move from being okay to really, being sustainable, being successful?
That's a very good question, and I'll start it off, and I think Barbara could contribute. But the center primary focus, at least in the Belize, SBDC Belize, is to provide strictly business advisory services, whether it's mentoring, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's workshops and trainings and sitting through, helping you develop further your business plan. But it's working with you as a business and improving your capacity as a business. Why is this important? Because we also, like I said, one of our partners is a funding agency, to DFC. Now, you have to go to DFC, and DFC is going to ask you, do you have a business plan? You don't have a business plan. That's a little. So again, you come back to the center. They're going to ask you, what's your track record if you're an established business? And it's kind of weak and kind of shaky. Again, the center comes in to increase your viability, increase your competitiveness. So the division of labor is, we make you do what you do better. Okay, we assist you in what you do better. Sound like, and then you're able, the chances that you go through successfully a loan program increases significantly. And why is that important? Because not only do you have access to a loan, but the bank risk goes down because you have the business sense and skills to continue to be viable, to not only pay back, but probably come back for a bigger loan in the future.
Because it's to a large extent, it's not a lack of ideas. We have lots of brilliant ideas out there, people with really good ideas, but just not having the know-how, the business sense to take this idea from an idea to a successful business or enterprise.
Yes.
Correct. Well, like Melanie said, in regards to funding, that's exactly right. One of the SBC doesn't work on isolation. We work with partners, and one of the strong and main partners are the funding agencies or banks.
So partnership again is key to this.
It's key
success,
because we cannot, as SBDCs, we focus, as Melanie said, on consulting assistance, technical training, but we cannot do the funding. We are not experts on many other things, so we rely on our partners to provide the kind of services that MSMEs need. So funding agencies, chambers of commerce, universities, that are key to the success of the SBDC model.
Exactly. I mean, even when we provide the business advisory, the center has no illusion that we will provide all the services ourselves. We have partners domestically that are better at doing certain services. You have the Youth Business Trust. They've fine-tuned some services that we don't have to reinvent. We just can partner with them to provide. So there are different agencies in the country that do very good at what they do. And the center also in Belize, if I could make this more personal, will not only provide services but coordinate with the stakeholder, our network and our stakeholders, to provide relevant services to the center, to the clients. But again, access to finance is not something you get at the center. It just increases your ability to get finance from financial institutions.
But I would also like to chime in. There's also indirect results and benefits on going through the center. For example, if you're an informal enterprise, and through the center you get to that stage to be a formal business entity, then you open yourself up to a whole new other spectrum of opportunities. For example, Caribbean export, a lot of its interventions, especially in terms of direct assistance for grants and other activities to empower the private sector, normally you have to be a formally incorporated business. So just by going through the center, achieving that, you're opening yourself up to another spectrum of services that other regional, international agencies can provide, and other national stakeholders. So people that are going through it should think of the direct and indirect results that they can get from the center.
So what are some of the specifics in terms of the training, the advice that you will be providing to people who will become a part of the center?
Well, I'd like to mention that one of the key characteristics of the SBDC model is its flexibility. So even though every single center, we have 1,100 centers in the United States, 180 in Mexico, 10 in El Salvador, and the rest of Latin America, each center will provide the consulting assistance, the market research, and the training programs. However, each community has different necessities. And so the services, the training that we provide in Belize City will be different from the services that we provide in San Antonio, Texas, or in the Dominican Republic, because there's a different need in the market. So that's one of the key characteristics also of the SBDC model that makes it feasible to adapt and implement in other countries.
And so specifically to Belize, because we're opening up the center for the first time, we know a lot of the needs right now from our current client at BELTRAIDE is some business plan, grant access, grant funding, writing. Something as simple as budgeting and financing, separating your personal assets, personal budget from your bank, from the business. So these, you would find that most in the first 3 months, a lot of our training will do with the less sophisticated but equally important business support, business training for entrepreneurs mainly. Again, when we build up our clientele, it's market research, what is more domestic market research, international market research, whether it's inventory control, whether how do you go about product development and certification. Again, when you start exporting a product, what are the certifications? So those are trainings that come underneath the center. So depending on the client need, again, it's something that we will be offering. So for right now, it's broad intentionally because there are 3 tiers we're dealing with. So everybody needs a different.
The center will be set up at the University of Belize's Belize City campus.
West Landiva. Yes, the Faculty of Management. So we've had excellent reception by both the UB president, the dean of the Faculty of Management. They have gone beyond and accommodating, finding space for us, providing assistance, preliminary talks about MOU. That's something with our partners, all 4 partners. By the end of the year, we want to finalize our MOU, so exactly we know what each one is bringing to the table, what each one expectations.
And the 4 partners you're referring to here are?
Belize City Council, DFC, UB, and ITVET. Okay. There you go.
And you'll be hiring a staff separate and apart from universities?
Yes, the center actually has its own staff. We are going to roll out the center in phases. So the first phase, we will have a senior counselor, a junior counselor, and the admin assistant who is also instrumental in running the center. And I will be acting as acting director for at least a year for the center. Phase 2 is when we hire our second senior counselor, a second junior counselor, and our researcher and training coordinator. And that will happen probably anywhere from 6 to 12 months. After 12 months, the final hiring will be the actual director for the center. Our vision for the center at BELTRAIDE is, ironically, the center is our client for BELTRAIDE. We're preparing it to launch it in 2 years, where it's going, if everything goes well, in 2 years we work out the kinks, it's a pilot project, it will be a sister agency, it will be a full-fledged statutory body that monitors and runs itself and be responsible for coordinating all other centers in the country. So we're incubating, BELTRAIDE is rightfully a small enterprise development center should be on its own. Most countries have it on its own. It was at BELTRAIDE, I'm very proud to say I was part of the team that started the SME unit at BELTRAIDE, and it was easy to overwhelm BELTRAIDE with all its demands. The SME unit took a lot of BELTRAIDE's time, rightfully so, but it's time to set it free, and that's what we're preparing. We're incubating
so you're laying
our
the
center.
groundwork for it to
we're incubating our own center.
Be able to stand on its own.
Yes. Okay, so we couldn't have done it without UTSA and OAS and our partners. So next 2 years, we hope to also find additional domestic partners, because when we open up the center in PG, the demands are different, the partners will be different. We open up the center in Curzal, again, the partners will be different, the demands are different. So we just want every center meet the local community's
So
needs.
for the medium term, we're anticipating that we will have at least one center in each of the districts
Yes.
in Belize.
That is the aim of BELTRAIDE for the center nationally, that in every urban setting, there will be a center. Okay.
What kind of time frame do you anticipate for this to happen?
Well, definitely in the first 2 years, I think we're going to fine-tune how it works in Belize, the best Belize model. And then after that, we hope to be rolling it out when it becomes a statutory body, to roll it out probably in the next 2 years. Subsequent to that, more centers in the country. But you know what? If life happens and it's good, nothing in the stars that says we can't roll it out quicker. But for now, that's the plan.
Let's talk a bit about how is this going to happen. I'm an up-and-coming small business person, and I want to take advantage of this. What do I do? Do you have criteria? What will get me into the center or prevent me from getting into the center?
You want to go there, or you want to?
As an institution that wants a partner and
the client.
the client. Well,
yes, I'm a client. I'm interested in taking advantage of what I see as perhaps an opportunity for me to move from simply, just making it, to really being a viable, successful small business.
Well, one of the things that we do at the SBDC, we segment our clients. So in general terms, we have 3 segments of clients. We have those entrepreneurs that come to the center with a specific idea, or just I want to do something. There are 2 kinds of entrepreneurs: those that need to basically assess the feasibility of their projects, or those that are looking for just good opportunities. We also have established businesses, and we have those proactive established businesses that are looking to expand their business, increase their sales, and lower their cost. We also have those established businesses that come to the center with, I'm in crisis, I need to solve this problem. Or we come to the center with a new opportunity, and they need to also assess the feasibility of it. And we also have what we call gazelles. These are small businesses.
What?
Gazelles.
Gazelles?
Yes.
You mean like the animal?
Correct.
Gazelles. Why gazelles?
These are small businesses that are growing so fast that are becoming medium-sized. And so by understanding which segment a client or a company falls into, we can provide the services that they need. So if an entrepreneur comes to the center with a specific idea, okay, we'll guide them through the process of, is this idea really feasible? Does it have business sense? If we have a company that comes to the SBDC in crisis, okay, what's going on? How we can help you? And if we need a company that is really growing and is becoming medium-sized, well, we provide the kind of services that will help that company transition to becoming to a medium-sized business. And so the services vary. Again, we have the consulting, we have the training, and in the training too, we have courses that are basic, that are just for entrepreneurs. What's the need of an entrepreneur that has, is looking for new opportunities? They don't understand what having a business means. They don't know the process. So having a basic course on, how do I start? How do I establish my business? And with that, you will provide services to all this pool of entrepreneurs that have an idea. For clients that are becoming medium-sized, we have more specific training on leadership, strategic management, how to manage your human resources. So again, we segment our clients, and we to each of these client segments, we provide the kind of services that will cover or that will respond to the need of them.
So in some ways, you might actually design and implement specific courses that are catering to the needs of a significant number of stakeholders.
Correct.
And then in some other instances, it might be a more personalized, individual individualized.
Correct. All the consulting is individual, is confidential, is customized. The market research is customized. We don't have a pool of market research reports that we can pull every client. No, every time we meet with a client, okay, what's the need? What do you need? What's going on? And then based on that meeting, that interaction with the client, we can define what the market research needs to be done, or what kind of services I need to refer this client to. So it's very personalized. That's one of the, also, we're talking about measuring economic impact and tracking all the activities, having that personalized relationship with the client, that's what allows us also to measure and to capture that economic impact from them.
So who pays for this? I come to you. Is it free for me? Is it? No, yeah.
At SBDC Belize, yes, it's free for you as a client, particularly Tier 1. Okay, that's the startup.
Tier 1 being?
Startup, the entrepreneurs. So yeah, it is definitely free for that. At Tier 2 and Tier 3, depending on what you want, it's going to be co-share, but heavily subsidized by the center, just because we want you to put value in what you're getting from the center. But it's heavily subsidized, where you probably pay, what, 10–15% of the actual cost. But again, who pays for it? In this case right now, the government of Belize. And again, the partners that we're having, some of them provide equity, in-kind contribution. Some of them will provide actual financial contribution to the center as well, so that we can provide the services to as many as we can. Because we don't want you to not come and say, for an entrepreneur, $50 to send 2 employees to get trained, that's a lot of money. And so we don't want that to be an excuse why you can't get help.
And that's why I guess you also need the partnership, again, with other people who could help to.
If I may interject, also, it'd be good to tell everybody that the government of Belize is putting up this money initially, but it's because it's responding to a call. Because this is not something that just we came up with the idea and decided to do it in Belize. The idea started with consultation meetings with stakeholders between academia, public sector and private sector, and they all converge into the same idea that this is something that is needed. This is something that can work here in Belize. So based on those results, then BELTRAIDE and its partners have moved forward this program. So it's basically an investment that they're doing on all of the private sector.
And Caribbean export will continue to be a part of this process. Oh,
definitely. As Barbara said in the beginning, Belize is one of the countries that this is being implemented to. We're trying to push forward the program again in Barbados, Dominica, Jamaica, and St. Lucia. But our involvement here in Belize will continue, especially in probably channeling a lot of the interventions that Caribbean Export has available for all CARIFORUM states through the SBDC. We normally used BELTRAIDE. We can probably now separate. Some things go to BELTRAIDE, some things go to the SBDC, depending on the mandate that is developed for them.
So, Melanie, you launch tomorrow, and when do you actually open the door for business?
8 o'clock on the 1st of November, that's a Thursday. So the day after the launch, we'll be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed waiting for you to come in.
Yes. I'll be there.
Please, bring your concept. There you go. There you go. But
as you've said before, you have some businesses where people have their ideas already. What about people who, it's difficult to find a job. I've been searching for a job all over the place, up and down, every which way. Can't find a job. And there's this idea in the back of my mind that maybe I need to try to find a way to
make my own money.
To make my own money, to be self-employed. How does a person like that move from that to perhaps then becoming a real micro or small business development?
I think one of your earlier questions you asked what was the criteria to come to the center. I think one of the basic criteria is commitment to your idea. You bring your idea and we will help you flesh it out. And if it's just a concept in your head, you with the consultations with the various counselors you have, we'll help you put that on paper. We will help you as much as you're willing to help yourself. So I think the only criteria we have for you is your commitment to know your role. My role is to help you. You don't want to help.
You're not going to do it for me.
Because it's not my job.
Exactly.
It's not my company. I am going to, like I said, we're going to help you do what you do better. Okay, so you come with your idea, we as dedicated to this idea as you are. So you come every day and you harass us every day, we will be there to receive that harassment and we'll go with you and work with you. So that's the basic idea, but you have an idea, sit with us, we'll see where it's good, we might fine tune it a bit for you to make it relevant to the Belize market or whatever market we want to access, but we will be there for you and we work through that and bring you all the way up to establishing, giving you courses on what it is to establish a company in Belize, a business or a company in Belize, and then how do you go about accessing financing. And financing, believe it or not, is one of the least issues, because if you don't know how to deal with the money,
that's it.
You can have hundreds, hundreds of dollars and not know how to use it properly.
Exactly. And in our experience, again, because BELTRAIDE's been doing it a while, companies come in and say they want $50,000, and after we sit with them and tell them that you could strengthen it, your business practice here, you could cut costs here, and by the time you finish out what is the actual money you need for your enterprise, it's $10,000, and that's an easier thing to choose from. So it's also looking at it from that way as well. So so bring your ideas.
What about advising potential members of the center or stakeholders of the center about going in different avenues from the ones that they may be thinking, because maybe the market is oversaturated? I don't know. I am not a business person, so I'm asking some questions, because again, you looking at our day-to-day reality. You walk down the street and hundreds of little
food vendors.
So you say, well, can they really be?
I think the basic thing is, what do you expect? What is your expectation for this? Is it something where you have provide an income to you and your immediate family? Then probably that works. But if you're looking where you want to be living a lavish lifestyle and things like that, then you might want to adjust your business plan and concept. So it depends on what is it that you want at this time. So if it's, you're a single mother and you need income to help you stay at home and, provide for your 2 children, then this plan will work for you. If it's something you want more, then we'll work with you to adjust that plan. So again, it depends on your needs as the client. What do you want? What are your expectations? What do you want out of this? And we guide you from there.
And also many times it's the role of the advisor to, sometimes an idea, as you said, is just not feasible. And it will be a waste of money and resources and time to invest in that idea. And so that's part of our job. Sometimes we have to say...
So you have to say...
No, don't move forward. Or maybe, many other times, for as much entrepreneurial as we want to be, sometimes people are just not entrepreneurial and maybe that's not for them. So, that's part of our job as well as advisors, to tell the
So you have to really be able to assess.
Yes. Exactly. We need to assess the situation and
properly and guide. Because if it's one thing, if they're not an entrepreneur, then you know what, we need to advise you to another means of being employed, or that they are an entrepreneur but this idea is not good, how can we tweak it and guide them to somewhere else that their passions can take them. So again, it's the assessment, knowing that have that intuitiveness to know what, okay, sorry, this is not going to work, versus what if we look at it from this angle. So again,
what are some of the successes you have had at the University of Texas at San Antonio, Barbara? Some of the
too many.
No, of course, I'm sure, in a number of years, but maybe some of the things that kind of stick out. You might remember one of the experiences for different reasons.
We have been in operation for actually 20 years this year. This is our anniversary.
Congratulations.
And so we have clients that they have shown their loyalty to the center and have come back, and we have been advising them for over 10 years or so. And so one of the clients that comes to mind right now is they have play systems, and it was a small family-owned business in San Antonio. They came to the center, selling locally, selling within the United States. They wanted to open new markets, And so we started working with them, consulting, a lot of market research, going to them to trade shows and fairs. And after years of following them on the process, today they're selling to over 20 markets around the world.
What are they selling?
Play systems for kids.
Play systems.
Play systems, like the wheel play systems. I don't know how to say it.
like Nintendo and things like that?
No, it's like for outside, for the gardens.
Okay.
The bouncy play system.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
So right now, thanks to the assistance of the International Trade Center at UTSA, they are selling to over 20 countries in every continent. And so that's kind of the successes. That's a home run, like we said. Not every client is like that. And maybe a success is just opening a new location or hiring one more person to handle marketing and sales. So, but there are different kind of successes. We also have people that come to the center.
And that's considered at this point what a medium size or still
it's still a small business.
Still
yeah,
small
it's still a small business. But we have all kinds of successes. Some people come to the center and say, thanks to your assistant, I was able to sell more, and thanks to that, my kid is now going to college. So it's not only sales; it's also raising the quality of life, improving the quality of life.
That
of people.
really is ultimately what
That's
we're
what
talking
looking for.
about,
Exactly.
isn't it?
Economic development.
Exactly.
Quality of life.
It's really a rewarding job, and I think that SBDC here in Belize will have a great impact in the communities.
So, UTSA will continue to be a partner for a period of time, or how will that work? What?
Correct. This is just the beginning of a new period for BELTRAIDE, UTSA, Caribbean Export, and OAS. From now on, we're going to continue working with BELTRAIDE in helping them continue to adapt and implement the SBDC model. As Lionel mentioned before, we also at UTSA are developing this platform, SBDCglobal.com, and the goal is to connect all these small businesses that will be clients of the SBDC Belize with all the rest of the SBDC clients in the Western Hemisphere. So that's something that will create new opportunities to the clients or to the companies here in Belize. We'll also be providing more technical training. One of the next activities will be a visit to the SBDC in San Antonio for them to learn, in-depth, hands-on, the operations, the administrations, all the strategic planning of the centers. So they're going to be meeting. It's going to be a full week of meeting from 8 a.m. on Monday until 5 p.m. on Friday. They're going to be meeting with all the directors from all the centers. They're going to be learning about the oversights. We mentioned the system that kind of monitors and tracks all the performance and activities of the center, so they're going to be learning a lot of that. So UTSA will continue to have a very active role in the development of the SBDCs in Belize.
All right. Well, is there any last word, Melanie, or any of you want to share with our listeners and viewers before we leave?
My last word is that BELTRAIDE is very proud, along with its partners domestically and internationally, to be able to offer to the Belizean community the SBDC. And so please, the community, we ask you to, you have an idea, you have both people who want to provide us advisory assistance to the center, or to needs assistance from the center, come and take a look at us. We'll be open the 1st of November, that's Thursday.
Okay, Leonard.
Pleasure.
Barbara Mooney.
Pleasure.
And Melanie Gideon. Thank you so much for being
Thank
with
you.
us on the
Thank you for
411
having
tonight. And we want to remind all listeners that the SBDC launches tomorrow at the Radisson Fort George at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So be there and be a part of this historical moment. And I'd like to remind you that if you have missed our show, that you can join us again Sunday morning at 11 o'clock on Wave TV and at 5 p.m. on Channel 7. And don't forget to join us, or follow us, I should say, on Facebook, and write to us at our Gmail address. Do have a pleasant evening.